I'm 25 now, but I still remember that New Year's Eve like it happened yesterday. I was 7. My brother Lucas was 4. Our parents had been invited to some fancy party at a hotel downtown, and they'd hired Jade to watch us. She was 19, a college student who babysat to pay for textbooks. We've had her before. Lucas loved her because she played with us instead of just staring at her phone. She showed up at around 7 that night, wearing jeans and an oversized sweater. Her blonde hair was pulled back into a ponytail. She brought coloring books and promised to let us stay up until 11 to watch the ball drop on TV.
Your parents will be back around 1,
she said, plopping down on our couch.
So we're gonna have the best New Year's Eve ever, okay?
Lucas was already showing her his new action figures while I was pretending to be too old for babysitters. Everything was normal until around 11:15. Suddenly, we heard a woman's terrified shrieks from the corridor outside, followed by breaking glass. Jade's head snapped toward the door. She stood up slowly, telling us to stay put while she checked the peephole. I saw her face go pale. "What's happening?" She didn't answer, just grabbed her phone and dialed 911. I heard her whisper into it.
"There's someone in the building. We're on the 8th floor, apartment 804. Please hurry."
She hung up, then turned to us with a smile while her eyes were filled with fear.
"Guys, we're gonna play a game, okay? We're gonna hide in the bathroom, really quiet like ninjas. Can you do that?"
Lucas thought it sounded fun, but I knew something was wrong. Jade grabbed our hands and led us to the bathroom. She lifted Lucas into the tub first, then me, and pulled the shower curtain closed.
"No matter what happens, you two stay in here.
"Jade, what's going on?" I whispered.
Just promise me, Alex. Promise you'll stay here with Lucas."
I promised. She started to leave, then stopped and knelt beside the tub, looking at us through the curtain.
"I need you to be brave, okay? Trust me. I'm going to keep you safe."
Lucas and I sat in the dark bathtub, listening. For a while, there was nothing except the sound of our breathing and the distant hum of the building's heating system. Then, we heard footsteps in the hallway outside our apartment. They were loud and stopped at each door. I held Lucas close, covering his mouth with my hand. My chest felt like it was going to explode as I kept listening. The footsteps stopped outside our door. There was a long silence before the doorknob rattled. I heard Jade's voice, muffled but clear enough.
"The door's locked. The police are coming. Just leave."
There was a short pause before something heavy slammed against the door. Jade's screamed numbed our ears. I was shaking, and so was my little brother. We heard a crash, like furniture being knocked over, followed by the sound of running footsteps. Lucas started crying in my arms, but I clamped my hand tighter over his mouth. Whoever broke in was moving through our apartment now. He was fast. I heard another crash, closer this time. A man was tearing through our living room. He kicked open my bedroom door so hard it slammed against the wall, and I nearly jumped. Then he moved toward the bathroom. I held my breath as the bathroom door opened. Through the crack in the shower curtain, I could see his shadow. He was tall and wearing a black ski mask. He was holding a meat chopper. His fingertips were dripping blood. He took a step toward the tub, but just as he was about to open, Jade screamed.
Hey! Over here!
The man spun around and ran. I heard him chasing her, heard her footsteps pounding toward the stairwell, and the heavy door slam open. Then there were sounds of shouting and sirens. The cops had showed up. Everything happened fast after that. Officers flooded the building. Someone pulled us out of that bathtub. A female cop wrapped us in blankets and asked if we were hurt. I was shaking so bad, I couldn't even answer. "Where's Jade?" I kept asking. They didn't answer. My parents came running in about 20 minutes later. Both of them were crying, holding us so tight it hurt. They kept saying we were safe, that it was over, but I didn't feel safe because I saw them wheeling someone out on a stretcher. I saw the blood on the white sheet and a blonde ponytail hanging off the side. That night, Jade almost died saving us. She was beaten so badly that when the police arrived, she was unconscious. She had broken ribs, a fractured skull, and some kind of bleeding inside her body. She had to spend 2 weeks in the hospital. The man they arrested was named Jax Ryder. He'd been released from jail 3 days earlier and was looking for the guy who testified against him. The guy lived on our floor, but Jax didn't know which apartment. So he was going door to door, attacking anyone who got in his way. He would have killed us, hadn't Jade led him away. I visited her in the hospital after she woke up. She could barely talk. Her face was covered in bruises, but when she saw me, she tried to smile.
You stayed in the tub.
She whispered. I nodded and broke down. Even the 7-year-old me knew I owed my life to that girl. Jade recovered eventually, but she never babysat again. She moved to a different city for grad school. My parents paid her medical bills, set up a fund for her college, and tried to find the words to express what she'd done for us. Lucas and I are adults now. We both have our own lives, our own apartments, and our own problems. But every New Year's Eve, we meet at Jade's place. We order pizza, watch the ball drop, and remember the night a 19-year-old girl chose to put herself between 2 kids and a monster. She saved our lives, and we shall never forget it. I was working overnight shift at the hospital that 2 in New Year's Eve. I needed the money, honestly. The blizzard started around 11:30 and accelerated to the point where you can't see 5 feet in front of you. I was watching IMR Scary Tales on YouTube when I heard someone slam against the front door. I buzzed him in, and he basically fell through the entrance, soaked in blood. He was breathing hard, and his eyes kept darting around. I hit a deer. My car went off the road. It's stuck in a ditch about a mile back. Please, help. I went into from watching scary stories to being in one. Are you hurt? Is this your blood? No, it's the deer's. Thing came out of nowhere. His teeth were clattering. I pushed up the heat, grabbed some gauze, and started clearing the blood off. The guy was unshaven and had tattoos creeping up his neck. Naturally, I was a bit alarmed, so I squinted closer, and that's when I noticed the consistency of the blood. It was too thick and dark. My uncle hunts, so I've seen deer blood plenty of times. I could swear it wasn't it. Where exactly did you crash? I probed. What? Your car. You said it went off the road. Yeah, Route 26, about a mile back. I walked here. I'd been watching the parking lot window for hours and hadn't seen any headlights pull in. His hands wouldn't stop shaking, but his eyes were moving around the room, taking in the door, the window, and the phone on the wall. Is anyone else working tonight? That question made my stomach drop. The overnight doctor's in his office. 2 other nurses are doing rounds. I lied, watching his jaw tighten. All right. Something about the way he said that made me uncomfortable. He stood up suddenly. Can I use your bathroom? Sure, down the hall, second door on the left. The second he walked out, I locked the exam room door from the inside. My hands were shaking when I pulled out my phone, but it had lost signal. The blizzard must have knocked out the tower. I tried the landline on the wall. It was dead as well. The storm had taken out everything. I heard his footsteps in the hallway, but he wasn't going toward the bathroom. He was going the opposite direction, toward the supply room where we had the back exit. He was checking the layout. I stayed quiet and pressed myself against the wall. Through the gap under the door, I could see his shadow stop outside the exam room. He tried the handle twice. I know you're in there. Open the door, he asked, but I didn't move. My heart started pounding. Look, it wasn't a deer, okay? She was hitchhiking, and I just wanted to feel less alone on New Year's Eve. Is that too much to ask? I tried to kiss her, a simple kiss, but she slapped me and called me a freak. After that, I just couldn't let her walk alive, you know? I felt sick. I mean, she probably slept with 1,000 random dudes, and now calling me a creep. I tell you, girls these days are impossible. I couldn't believe my ears. I let a madman in who killed someone for no reason. I told him to back off, as I have already called the cops, but he kept laughing, saying I was lying. I knew the door won't hold long if he attempted to get in, but shockingly, he did nothing like that. He calmly sat down right outside the door and continued talking to me. You know, people like her, they bring it on themselves. I offered her company, kindness. It's New Year's Eve. Everyone hates being alone on the holidays. But she acted like I was garbage. He chuckled softly. She hit me, spit on me, called me a creep after everything I did. He shifted, leaning his back fully against the door. I could feel the pressure through the metal. They think they can treat men however they want, and nothing'll happen. So yeah, I handled it, and I'd do it again. I pressed a hand over my mouth. I'm going back for her after I warm up. He continued casually. Storm's perfect for covering tracks. I'll get her off the road, bury her deep. Snow will hide the fresh dirt. Nobody'll find her till spring, if even then. I felt dizzy. The blizzard outside roared, but his voice was loud and clear. You seem like a smart guy, he murmured. You're not going to tell anyone I came here tonight, right? He didn't wait for my answer. Good, because if you did... He laughed under his breath. Well, let's not think about that. I even left you something, a gift, right by your door. His boots scraped against the floor as he stood up. He didn't try the handle again. He didn't want to bang or shout. He just walked away, humming softly as he headed down the hallway. I waited until I couldn't hear his footsteps anymore. Maybe a full minute, maybe 5. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the keys as I opened the exam room door. The hallway was empty. I sprinted to the main entrance and locked it with trembling fingers. Only then did I notice something on the floor by the exam room. Something small, glinting in the dim light. A shine of metal in the dark. I swallowed, turned on my phone flashlight, and crouched. It wasn't metal. It was a human ear that belonged to a woman. Small, pale, and frozen stiff. A silver stud still pierced through it. I nearly fell over. He'd had it in his pocket the whole time. He'd been inches from me while carrying a piece of her. I locked every door and window that night. I sat with my back against the wall until daylight finally broke through the parking lot windows. Since that night, I checked the news every morning. Local, state, national, hoping they find a body. I don't have the guts to go to the cops because I know he's watching me. I get that feeling every night. I just hope sharing the story here might help me sleep. Norman and I had been dating for a month when he started pushing me to spend New Year's Eve at his family's farmhouse. The place was 2 hours outside of the city, buried in the woods next to a lake that looked pitch black even during the day. There were no neighbors in sight for miles. The second we pulled up, the front door swung open before we even made it to the porch, and his mom practically tackled me.
Jenny! You're even prettier in person. Get in here. We've been waiting all day.
She grabbed my hands and squeezed so hard it hurt. Inside, the place smelled of old wood, mixed with something sickeningly sweet. The furniture looked ancient. Every wall had these creepy photos of people with blank faces, staring straight ahead. We walked into the living room, and Norman's uncle's eyes glazed over. Jenny, you're hot! I went stiff, but Norman laughed it off, asking me to take it easy. How could I, when his uncle couldn't stop leering all through dinner? Every single time I glanced up, he was watching me with this gross smile, licking his lips. Norman's mom was just as bad. She'd stroke my hair, squeeze my shoulders, and grab my wrist every time I so much as breathed.
Have more,
she said, dumping another pile of gray slop onto my plate.
I'm stuffed, really.
Her smile stayed frozen, but her fingers dug into my wrist.
Just one more bite, sweetie.
So, Jenny, tell us about your folks. Norman's dad leaned across the table.
They're back in the city.
My mom teaches philosophy.
Do they know you're here?
That stopped me cold. I looked at Norman, but he wouldn't meet my eyes, so I mumbled an awkward yes and went back to the food. An hour later, Norman's mom carried in a cake with "Welcome to the family" written in red frosting. Suddenly, Norman's dad got up and pulled out a little box from his pocket. He set it down in front of Norman. I felt ice in my veins when he opened it. Inside was tucked an old, tarnished ring with a black stone that looked like it swallowed light.
Norman, go ahead.
His mom giggled. Norman grabbed my hand and knelt. "Jenny, will you marry me?" I tried to laugh it off while my heart pounded in my chest.
Norman, it's just been a month.
"I know," he said, grinning. "But when you know, right?"
This is insane.
Norman's mom's face changed.
Aren't you his girlfriend?
Yeah, but
So you will marry him.
maybe, but we need more time.
Time?
His mom's voice went shrill.
For what? You ate our food. You're in our home. You're a part of us now.
I came for dinner, not a wedding.
My voice cracked. Carl pushed himself up. "What an ungrateful bitch!" I got up to leave, but Norman grabbed my wrist hard. His dad stepped in close, blocking my path to the door. Carl moved to the other side while Norman's mom stood behind me.
Please, let me go home.
I said, tears starting to spill. I tried to pull away from Norman, but his grip only kept tightening. Carl had grabbed my other arm. Between him and Norman, they started forcing me down into the chair. I struggled and wiggled, but they were too strong. "Sit down! You're embarrassing me!"
Stop it, please.
Norman's dad pulled the ring from the box. "Put out your hand!"
No!
Carl wrenched my arm forward. Norman held my wrist still. His dad moved the ring toward my finger. I had to get away. I searched my brain for any potential exit until it clicked.
My parents have to be here.
I screamed. Norman's dad stopped. "What?"
My parents,
I choked out through tears.
they need to see this. That's how it's done.
Norman's mom frowned.
We don't need.
Yes! It's tradition. Please, they have to be here.
They exchanged looks. Norman's grip loosened slightly. "She's stalling," Carl muttered.
No, I'm not, I swear. It's a union of two families, too. That's proper, isn't it? I mean, Norman deserves a grand celebration after all.
I looked at Norman, pleading with him to believe me. He looked at me, and his face softened. "Fine," Norman said slowly, letting go of my wrist. "I'll go get them." His dad didn't look convinced, but Norman had already grabbed the car keys and was heading towards the door.
I should give him a good luck kiss.
I mumbled, wiping my eyes and following a few steps behind. As I passed the table, I sneakily grabbed the cake fork and slipped it up my sleeve. "I know you have doubts right now, but once you're in, you'll get it," Norman said at the door. I nodded, stepping closer until we were standing inches apart. I went up on my toes. He closed his eyes, waiting for the touch. Instead, I jammed the fork into his eye as hard as I could. Norman went down screaming, clutching his face as blood poured out. The car keys hit the porch with a clatter. I snatched them up and bolted. His mom started shrieking behind me. I didn't look until I dove into the car and shoved the key in. The engine turned over right as Norman's dad got to the window, hammering on the glass. "You made a mistake!" I hit the gas. Gravel sprayed everywhere as the car kicked sideways, then straightened out. In the mirror, I could see all four of them on the porch under that yellow light, just watching me tear down the driveway. I drove for over an hour before I could pull over. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Norman's blood was all over my sleeve. Every time I blinked, I saw the fork going in. I've shifted apartment and now staying with my parents. I can't go to the cops because I too stabbed Norman that night. I just hope we never cross paths again.